So we've finished Oasby now, and which was good. As I said before, I'm a creature of habit. I love going to Oasby. I don't think we've ever missed an Oasby. But it was amazing the difference of how this drying weather from 10 days on from the elite competition has dried up the ground unbelievably. The wind and the sun to then nearly feel like we're on pretty summer ground, to be honest, nowadays. But it was, I think I had 8 horses in there in total on the Friday and Sunday. And they were all good girls and boys and jumped double clears. Some had a competitive run, some didn't. And again, just totally personal preference of what needs to run fast, what is better running fast, what doesn't need to. Better for their education or for the time of them. There might be a nice big young horse that doesn't want to go flat out on firmer ground at the minute when you've got a whole season ahead of you. So it can vary really, and it's something that I just discussed with owners beforehand to see what their plan would like to be, whether they're keen for a spin or they're happy to not bother on that day and wait for another day when the ground's suited to the type of horse or whatever. So it can vary. Anyway, they were all very good girls and boys, and we had a few wins. And there was a particular horse that I thought this time I would have a chat about, because it could probably relate to a lot of people. And so I thought it would be interesting just focusing on one horse for you rather than going through all of them. And this horse is called Our Old Fella, and he is a 15-2 grey thoroughbred, 10 years old, that was a new ride to me this year, that a very good owner stroke friend, Jayne McGivern, rang me up, and she said a good friend of hers is needing, has really got to sell him. He's not very expensive, but he's a really cute little horse, and he's a full thoroughbred. He's raced, he's played polo, he's novice evented, and will I try him? And I thought, I need that like a hole in the head. Really? I was like, Jayne, you're nuts. Well, she knows that. I tell her that all the time anyway. But I was like, no. No. And so she's like, please will you just try him? So I was like, fine, but this will be a short-lived thing. Anyway, he's as cute as a button, and you can't beat, there's something about, a little thoroughbred horse. When they're very intelligent and sharp and, athletic, they can be absolutely great. And from the moment he arrived, yes, he box walked round a stable like a lunatic. But from the moment I got on him and trotted in the school, there was just something I really liked about him. And, more than anything, his character, his intelligence. He was just a great little horse. He's not a fancy mover. He's not at all flashy. When I jumped the jumps, I went very fast, hurdled my way round. But there was something about his technique, something about, the feel that they can give that just made me smile. And I think there was a lot of people that thought I was nuts, and I could still be proven that I'm nuts. Well, I think probably a lot of people know that anyway, but with this horse. And I have no idea where he'll go or how far he'll go, but one thing I know is I just like getting on him every day, and he makes me smile, and I like working with him. And I think that in our game is the most important thing, of the trainability, and being able to work with them and believe in them gets us so much further really than, a particularly big fancy moving horse that doesn't have, you don't quite click with them mentally in the same way. But you'll see, I think Thomas is just going to put some training videos of, since I've had him and what I've done with him. Like I've said, he's not fancy. I've done my trot poles with him plenty, trotting and cantering, and just try to keep a rhythm. He's a real thoroughbred mover. He's got a longer hind leg than his front leg. It's quite difficult to really get the trot rhythm very clear. Find the canter where he could sit. They're made to gallop. They are a very different breed. And so there's been certain things with his training that I've had to, try quite hard with, but not too quick with. He's a 10-year-old horse, so I respect very much so that I don't need to suddenly change him to try and make him something he's completely not too quickly, for him physically to hopefully just stay right. And so every day I'm just working on basic things that helps keep a nice rhythm to him, helps improve the canter to try and sit. Everything wants to be fast, everything's going forward. So whether it's the trot poles keeping the rhythm, the canter poles, which I used to start, and everything was so fast and on the front, and it's just doing it time and time again, repetition of it. Sometimes, yes, he does get pulled up on landing if we're going too fast, and strong enough to pull him back and then canter off again back into the rhythm. So he just learns that it's not all about just flying about everywhere. There's a difference between enjoying yourself and just trying to establish a little bit of training to get him right. But he's also a horse that can have, he has got slight kissing spines. His vertical close together. Vertebra, I think I said vertical. And I've had a few horses with this problem before, and they can either deal with it really or they can't. And I think, everyone has their own experiences from it, but I've spoken to a lot of riders that have had it, and it's something that I feel that warming up a horse well, or, building up a horse well, the muscle around it, sometimes when they're cold and very fresh, they can be very tight and really feel like kissing spine is a problem. But the more sometimes you get into a horse and really work him and use his back and use the muscle around his back, can really improve them to know that they can deal with it. And this horse was, felt to me, especially through the winter, one of them. When he was fresh and started jumping, he'd be very tight. And the more he's done and the warmer he got and the more supple he's got, the much better he's felt. And so, like I say with this and all of my videos, everyone has very different experiences of it. And I'm just saying of my own. And that's just what I've found with it all so far. But he, through his work, whether it's jumping, try to slow him down, whether it's his dressage, try to find a clear rhythm, trying to just feel like I'm very happy with a 7. The endearing thing about this horse is he's got such a pretty little face, and he's a real smiler. So he presents himself quite nicely, which is a lot of your battle done. And he's been, they've done a great job of starting him eventing at novice level. He goes nicely on the bit. He takes a very nice contact, so his head stays still and all those sorts of things. And he actually gets out and about and he does breathe, and you can get the leg to him. And that's another thing. Sometimes at home, we can find that our horses or ponies jump, quicker, or they're sharper at home. But when you get them out, they're so much better. And so he's a horse that I probably tried to do more jumping or bigger jumping with him out, and just kept at home very much with the pole work or the simple things to try and not get him as excited or feel like I'm needing to enter the Grand National or something, the speed we're flying about the school to jump some jumps. But I was delighted at Oasby to think that this cute little horse that a lot of people have said, what are you doing with that? And I'm just like, I just like him, and he's a cool horse. And he's a little thoroughbred, and there's just something about them sometime. And I think that's half our battle. If you've got a horse that you just like and you can work with mentally and you can train it, I'm not saying he's going to be winning badminton one day or anything, but I'm just saying you know, he's fun, and I like working him. Where he ends up, I don't know, but he's just an endearing horse, and I'm interested in him. I want to see what he can do. But staying realistic to him at this age of trying to change or do too much too quickly, I'll let him try and tell me, but I'm just really interested in him. But I was delighted to think that, you know, our training at home, I've just tried to think and working through tests, you know, I just think he's a horse that a 7 is fine. He's not going to suddenly become elevated and trot off the floor and get 8s, but I can just do a really nice, accurate test and not be intimidated by the fact he doesn't move fancy, but just try and train him correctly to just be relaxed and consistent and understand his job. And so I was delighted when he went to Oasby and did the sweetest little test that I haven't got on video because no one was there, but I just thought to myself afterwards, oh God, he was just too cute. And he smiled the whole way through and was totally rideable and really just had a lovely rhythm and a swing to him. And I thought, I hope the judge liked him and wasn't, you know, put off by being a little thoroughbred and not the flashiest of mover and all the rest of it. So when he scored his 21 point something, I was very excited and very proud of him because I was like, oh God, what a good little chap. And show jumped really cute. I add a stride down most of my distances just because he's small and he gets fast. When he gets fast and I go for those bigger strides, then he could just go back to slightly hurdling. So I just always, if it's a 7 stride distance, I always think with him it's 8, just to try and keep him balanced a bit, to his hocks a bit more. And so he got a little red rosette that day. He's clearly very fast, or fast enough for our game. So I had a great time running around. But it was just good fun, and it made me smile, which I think it's all about. They don't have to look the biggest and the flashiest and the you know, all the rest of it to have a great time and train to try and do well at whatever level you're doing with whatever type. But he made me smile, and I'm looking forward to my next outings with him. And you'll probably think, what are you doing? Galloping around flat out, the show jumps, hurdling all the way around. But I like riding him, and that's half the battle. So little Polo is his name. He's small and he's white and he's cute. But he won his first event with me, so we're all very excited. Anyway, until next time, we're going to start talking about preparing for events, mental preparation as well, which keep getting some questions about. So we're going to have a go about that. Anyway, good luck everyone getting started, and we'll keep going till next time.